Today I'm going to be talking about some of the best and most underrated under 23 America players that you could potentially pick up for next season. With the season coming to an end in most American leagues, this is the perfect time to be picking up players at their lowest prices. Some of the players you'll probably have heard of, and some of them might be players to watch out for next season. If you enjoy the video and want to see more videos like this, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the first of these players. So the first player I want to talk about is Varela of Boca Juniors. He's a 21-year-old midfielder, and for anyone who watches the Argentinian league, they'll know how much of a good player this guy is. As you can see, great scorer already. Boca Juniors is one of the best teams in Argentina, towards the top of the league at the moment. As you can see, his scores recently have been just brilliant, especially his L15. You know, he's been hitting 74, 78, and especially in towards the end of the season, he's been getting some really decent scores. 21 years old, so he's going to have another few seasons of utility. He's only £32 for the limited, or around £300 for the rare. When he was having a few more good games, he was around £95 for the limited. So this is the sort of area that you're aiming that he could potentially get up to towards the start of next season. People are going to be looking at that L5 as it comes towards next season and thinking that is a really good pickup. He's really good offensively and defensively. I've watched a few games of him. He's a centre midfielder, and he's just a player that you really love to watch. He's a constant starter for Boca Juniors, which is another really good point, which, you know, can be rare to find in under 23 players. So yeah, this is the first pick, Varela. Second player I've got is Juan Forza. He might be one that's gone a little bit under the radar, but if you look at his L15s, L5s, he's a really constant scorer. He's only 20 years old, and he's actually got the most minutes played for Newell's Old Boys this season. As you can see, he's capable of some really good scores. He did actually get a red card in the last game, which is not great, but yeah, overall he's a really good player and really cheap at £14. You know, Newell's Old Boys is a team, there's a few more players on this list that I've got from Newell's Old Boys. They're a team that really likes to play young talent, so he's in a really good place for that. For the record, you're only looking at around £200. I mean, that's a really good pickup if you ask me ahead of next season. Saran is the next shout. He is a defender for the Chicago Fire in the MLS. As you can see, really cheap, £5. Historically, his price has been pretty constant, around the same. He had a little bump up here around £20. He's one who hasn't really broke out so far. He's got a good L15, but as you can see, he's only played 58% of the last 40 games. He had a really nice little spell here of, you know, 60s and 80 as well. I think next season is going to be a really big one for him if he can get in the team more often and be starting games every single week. I think he could be a really good pickup, and especially for £5, under £100 for the rare is very low risk if you ask me for a 22-year-old. He's got another year of eligibility until until 2025. So I think he's a really good pickup, and one that I've already picked up myself, as you can see here. Yeah, that's the third pick, Saran. The next one I've picked out is Aguer. He's another one from Newell's Old Boys. He's an attacker. And if you look at his scores here, as you can see, a lot of DMPs. He broke into the team for a little bit. I'm not actually sure why this was, but for an attacker, these AA scores are really good. He got 15, 22, so just some really good AA scores. He plays on the wing, if I'm correct. So maybe not one you're looking for decisives, but he's a really solid scorer. And if you think he puts in a couple of decisives here, that's a 75, that's an 80 plus. If he can get a few more decisive into his game, he could be a really good card. He's been taken back out of the team towards the end of the season, but he's only 19 years old, which means he's under 23 until 2027. Rare card for only £200. I think he's a really good little pickup. He had a little spike in price when he had those few games in the team at sort of £25. I think towards next season he's a bit more of a long shot, but I think he could be a really good player to pick up. Ezekiel Barco is the next one. Now, one thing to say about him really quick is he only has half a season of utility in the under-23s. Obviously, he's going to be a great player overall. As you can see, July 1st, 2023, he goes out of under-23 eligibility. But if you play Football Manager, you've probably heard of this guy. This is where I heard this guy from. And as you can see, 250 quid he was going for in May, which is just ridiculous, really. Even towards the start of the European season, he was still going for sort of £100, and now he's only at £22. You can see why. He had some really good scores. He had a bit of he fell off a little bit during the season, but he's picked up a little bit towards the end, hit a nice little 91 in the third last game of the season. And he's the sort of player who, if he hits form again, he's going to be a really expensive player and a really good player for your team. As you can see, his L5 he's been picking back up again. I think I don't actually have one at the moment, but I think after this video I am going to pick one of these guys up, because you know, this graph just really shows a lot about how good he could potentially be. Next one is another one that Football Manager fans might have heard of. It's Aaron Molinos. As you can see, he's less of a good SO5 scorer at the moment. He's lit pretty low, you know, £3 for him. He's had a few good scores, but most of his appearances have been off the bench. He's more of a long shot, I would say. I do believe he's been injured recently, which is why he hasn't been playing at all. But you know, for this price of sort of £4, he was up at like £28, £29 when he's playing a few more games. I believe next season he could be seeing a bit more game time, and he's playing for Boca Juniors as well, who are one of the best teams in the Argentinian league. Maybe, you know, his rare's a little bit up, but sort of like £60 to £70 for that would be a really reasonable price, and definitely one who you should look at picking up. The next one that I've picked out is Francisco Gonzalez, who is the third player from Neil's Old Boys. He is a player who's 21 years old, and unlike Aguer, he does start and he does play a lot for Neil's Old Boys. He had a really good start of the season. He's, you know, had a few substitute appearances, but he's still a really good player. He's only 21 years old, and I remember when he came on the platform originally, he was quite expensive. You know, you're looking at like 50, 60, 70 pounds from at the peak of the prices for America. He's all the way down at £6-7 right now, and only 150. Between 100 and 150 for the rare. He's another one, as I've said with Neil's Old Boys, they like to give youth a try, and he does play a lot of the games, and he's under 23 until 2025. For the price of sort of £6-7, he's really a really good pickup, I would say. So the final one is actually another Neil's Old Boys player. It's Franco Herrera. He is a goalkeeper. I want to try and get a goalkeeper in here now. Everyone knows about under 23 goalkeepers. They're very difficult to pick up at a decent price. As you can see, he was up at £100. I think he played, yeah, he had a little run in the team. You know, he got a nice little 80 score there, and he was up at £100. That's how quick these players can go up. But he's not really playing at the moment. If we look at Neil's Old Boys squad, they do have a few goalkeepers. They've got this Arturo Morales, who is not actually on the game at the moment. But they do have a few other goalkeepers, but I really do think for £10, you know, you could have him for until 2028. He's going to be under 23 until 2028. There's always a chance that he moves somewhere else as well. So I think, you know, for £10 for this kind of goalkeeper, it's just, you know, really a no-brainer. If he doesn't do well, he's going to stay around the same price. If he starts starting, he's going to be £100 plus at least, you know, possibly even £200. So really a no-brainer to pick up, I would say. So hopefully you have enjoyed that video. If anyone has any other regions they'd like me to look at, I thought America would be a good one to look at, because the season's coming to an end, so a lot of the players are at a decent price to pick up. My gallery has been moved mainly to Argentina and MLS players recently, so if anyone else wants me to do a part 2 with this, I have a few more players I could look at, or, you know, just general America players, then let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more like this, and I'll see you in the next one.